Foster parenting is a huge commitment. It's a life-changing and important decision for an individual or a family. Not everyone is ready to foster, and certainly not everyone can or will foster in their home. That's okay. There is a lot that you can do to support vulnerable children and families in your community, because we know that there are vulnerable children and families in every community. We also know that there are helpers, and you're likely here today because you are a helper. Thank you for joining us. Our goal today is to help you discover your role in coming alongside children who need love, support, and a stable home. Maybe that looks like coming alongside their families before, during, and after children enter foster care. Possibly it's coming alongside the foster families who do step up to welcome children into their home for a season. Not everyone can foster, but everyone can do something. So let's find your something, or at least start exploring. I'm Kaylee, and I have been a foster parent in South Carolina since 2017. We have fostered over 20 children in our home, ages 0 to 12, both long-term and short-term. Honestly, I wasn't sure that I could be a foster parent at first. I was young, recently married, and I had never parented any children of my own. Frankly, I didn't know anything about foster care. I didn't know who the children and the families were that were impacted by the system. I started by getting to know a family as they began their fostering journey. I learned from offering support what was and was not possible, what I was capable of doing. I leaned in by connecting with other foster parents in my community, and I did eventually become a foster parent myself. Getting to know other foster parents was the single best thing I did to prepare for becoming a foster parent. Since then, I've spent time leading within our local foster parent association, and now I'm the director of foster parent recruitment and support for Fostering Great Ideas, an innovative nonprofit out of Greenville, South Carolina. Daily, I get to interact with people considering foster care and those who are currently fostering. I get to hear about their questions and concerns and challenges. I get to celebrate with them as they experience joy and celebrate with them as they see next steps through. That is incredibly rewarding. But what I love just as much is talking to people who know they can't foster in this season, but they want to help in some way. There is so much that you can do, even without fostering. So today, I want to share with you, what can you do if you can't foster right now? Through Fostering Great Ideas, many programs, we are connected to literally thousands of foster parents and child welfare professionals, so we can tell you the real deal. We know that foster care is pretty unknown for many people, and anything involving the child welfare system can be confusing, overwhelming, and maybe even scary. The more you know, the better you can make informed decisions about your next steps in making a difference in your community and meeting the children in foster care, meeting their needs, meeting them where they're at. There will be sacrifice. It does require some selflessness. And as with any service opportunity, there is risk, especially in serving vulnerable children and families. Someday you may decide to welcome these children into your home through foster care or adoption. But for now, together, we're going to explore some ways that you can advocate for children without welcoming them into your home, because that's just not possible for everybody. We hope that you will better understand what foster care is and how to learn about the need in your community. We're going to explore some various ways to get involved and hopefully help you find the perfect way for you, your family, or your small group to connect with the organizations and opportunities that already exist in your area. Foster care, also known as out-of-home care, is a temporary protective service provided by states for children who cannot currently live with their families for some period of time due to safety concerns. Children enter foster care for a variety of reasons, but typically there's an allegation of abuse, neglect, or abandonment. Children in foster care may live with relatives or unrelated foster parents. They may live in placement settings such as a group home, residential care facility, emergency shelter, or some type of supervised independent living. At Fostering Great Ideas, we believe that every child and youth deserves a caring, loving, safe, and stable family-like setting. Older children and teens are often placed in group or residential settings. And no matter how well run these facilities are, we know that no one outgrows the desire for a family. Siblings are often separated because there are not enough homes that can keep them together. We believe that siblings thrive when their bonds are nurtured. It is important to understand that foster care is designed to be temporary. This is important to know whether you are fostering in your home or not. The goal is reunification with biological parents or extended family members whenever safe and possible. There is a great need for foster and adoptive families. According to the most recent federal data, we know that there are currently more than 400,000 children in foster care in the United States. They range from newborns to 18 or 21, depending on your state. The average age of a child in foster care is around 8 years old, and there are slightly more boys than girls. There are also over 100,000 children and youth waiting to be adopted. There is a great need for foster and adoptive parents for children and youth, specifically older children, teens, and larger sibling groups. So you may be asking, I can't foster right now. Why are you telling me this? I cannot meet the need to be a parent for these children. Well, we share these numbers with you because it's important to remember that these are real kids and real families. Numbers don't do justice to their stories. But understanding the immediate need for help in your own backyard is crucial to seeing the role that you might play, fostering in your home or not. As families do step up to fill this gap, to foster or adopt, the pressure on them is incredible. To take on more, to do more, to accept more, to welcome more kids into their home, more needs. And with that, it then becomes the increased responsibility of their community, their support system, to provide them with the support they need, to come alongside them and walk this journey with them. These numbers represent the reality in our own backyard, our community, our schools. And we all want the best for our community, for our kids, for our friends. So let's dive into how we can really make a difference. There may be barriers that you face as you consider how you can make a difference. But when we think that there are no such thing as other people's children, when we think we all belong to each other, there's no barrier we cannot overcome. So the first thing that many people say is, I don't know where to start. Well, you are in the right place. So hopefully we can make this a little less ambiguous. If you're saying, well, I don't know any kids that are in foster care. I don't know where they are. That's okay. Reach out to a local foster family. That's the best way to start. Well, maybe you don't know any foster families personally. You can find them and get to know them through your local foster parent association, nonprofit agencies, ministries or volunteer organizations, private licensing agencies, or your county Department of Social Services may have connections. I mean, honestly, there may be people in your church, at work, or on your street that are fostering, and you just don't even know it. Sometimes you can't tell a family that is fostering apart from any other family. Kids in foster care don't look any different than any other kid. The next thing that many people say is, I can't help because I don't have a lot of time. Many of us have a lot on our plate, especially right now, and it can feel overwhelming or frankly impossible to add even just one more thing to your schedule. Service, especially service to vulnerable children and families, will truthfully take time. It takes intentionality and commitment because it requires relationship building. And meaningful relationships are the key to making a deep impact. Getting to know foster parents intimately and offering them support will require you to often take the first step and put yourself out there. Getting to know the children and youth in foster care may be even harder. Some of these opportunities to get to know these kids will require a background check and fingerprinting, just for security reasons. Additionally, because these children and youth really need stability and security in relationships, many service opportunities require commitment. Commitment to show up regularly for some period of time. So to enter into this work, you need to decide that it's important to you. There is always risk involved in trying new things, but know this: these children deserve to be loved. They are in foster care through no fault of their own. Their families deserve to be loved too. They often have complex circumstances that they're trying hard to overcome. Foster families sometimes get mixed reputations too. They can be lifted up as saints. They can also be represented in the media as abusive and neglectful, or families that are just in it for the money. The truth is that these are all people in our community, typically doing the best that they can. The starting point to overcoming your fears about how to get started is always in relationship. So let's get to it. We're going to look at a number of opportunities. The first is tutoring. So tutoring is really important because children in foster care often fall behind in school. Many change schools when they're placed into foster care, and as their placement or where they're living changes, they continue to change schools, making it even harder to keep up academically. If you think back to when you were in school, just trying to get your daily tasks accomplished, study for tests, that's enough on your plate. But these children and youth are dealing with so much more. And we see that their standardized test scores are multiple percentile points behind their peers. You can offer academic support to children and youth in care in a variety of ways, and it doesn't require you to be a teacher or a math genius. Thankfully, right? Simply connect with a foster family and offer to help with homework after school. Maybe if you have a few weekends free, offer to take a youth to visit some colleges, go on some college tours. Tutoring or academic support may also be beneficial for parents that are trying to achieve a GED as they work a reunification plan. There may be formal tutoring programs that you can get involved with that serve underserved youth in your community, or others that are specifically geared towards youth in foster care. For example, Fostering Great Ideas offers Tutor Match, both virtually and in person across South Carolina and Colorado. Tutor Match provides quality tutors for children and youth in foster care of all grade levels. It can occur weekly and it's completely free. Mentors. Mentors are amazing. Youth in foster care have often lacked consistent relationships. They may make many moves where their living changes, and that impacts their progress academically, developmentally, socially, relationally. High quality relationships are the foundation for learning to take place. And adult mentors can provide that ongoing emotional support and guidance for youth in care, regardless of their placement moves. So you can connect with a foster family in your area or possibly a group home to offer to be a mentor for a youth. Just be an additional caring adult in their life. Maybe that looks like taking them out for ice cream once a week to talk about life with someone who's not parenting them. Maybe it's simply showing up at football games or dance recitals, celebrating birthdays and graduations and recognizing those big accomplishments and achievements. There may be formal mentoring programs in your area through a school district or community organization. Think Big Brother, Big Sister. There may be some that are designed specifically for youth who have experienced time in foster care. There may be mentoring programs through the group home or social service agency in your area, but a simple search can help you get started. Through Fostering Great Ideas, another example, our life support mentors in upstate South Carolina and Denver, Colorado, commit to visiting youth in foster care twice a month. Mentors actively listen to hopes and fears and dreams and really become a meaningful part of a child's journey. And that journey often is towards better outcomes. I wish I could tell you all the amazing stories of our mentors because they will just blow you away. The meaningful power of an intentional relationship. Advocate. You can advocate for children and youth in foster care in a number of ways. These children and youth in foster care live in limbo. Their life is decided by people or groups of people who they may not even know, judges, lawyers, social service caseworkers. And they deserve to have their voice heard in court and in all the decisions that are being made about their future. A guardian ad litem, also known as a GAL, or a CASA, a court-appointed special advocate. The name depends on your location. They volunteer to get to know the child and everyone involved in the child's life, including parents, foster parents, teachers, social workers. They gather all this information about the child, what they want and what they need. And they present that to the judge to offer a fuller picture of the child's life. This advocacy helps a judge to make the most well-informed decision for that child's future. The GAL or the CASA provides a stable presence in the child's life, again, despite those placement moves. This is a huge commitment. It requires training and ongoing education. These volunteers spend time with the child each month and are dedicated to showing up in court on the child's behalf. There are, of course, other ways to advocate as well without taking on this specific role. Maybe that looks like speaking up, voting for policy and system reform locally, statewide, or nationally. Support. Foster parenting is hard. The families that do choose to foster need support. And that support may come from other foster parents, their friends and family, community, church members. Sometimes it just takes someone saying, I want to help you, and here's how. I want to be a partner for your family in this journey as I cannot foster myself. So we're going to look at a few tangible ways that you can offer help. And we want to look at those tangible ways because sometimes just saying, let me know how I can help you, or let me know if you ever need anything, isn't as helpful when it's so broad. Often foster parents are used to being the helpers themselves, and they may not be comfortable asking for help even when they need it. Honestly, they may not even know what they need, especially at first, and the kind of wildness of welcoming a new child into their home. So when you can think of tangible and specific ways that you're willing and able to help, offer those up front. So some of those things may be tangible support. There are lots of ways to help support a foster family as they welcome these new kids into their home. Tangible support, emotional support, and encouragement are all really important. So simply think about the things that you would like to do and would make sense for your current time and resources. Maybe that's offering to pick up groceries and drop them off for a foster parent when you're doing your weekly grocery run. And maybe that's bringing a meal to a family who has welcomed a new child into their home, and things are kind of wild and crazy and chaotic as they kind of settle into new routines. Maybe that's having a pizza delivered if you don't want to cook a meal. But I know a family that just really has been blessed by their community. They have someone that comes and picks up they have 5 kids and they pick up all of their laundry and they wash and dry and fold it and return it for them. That allows them to, in the very little free time they have between therapies and schools and appointments and visits, to just spend time being a family rather than focus on chores. Of course, not every family wants literally their dirty laundry to be aired at someone else's house. But there are things you can do. I say that just to show you there are ways that you can help. Maybe you offer some sort of assistance. Maybe that's a mechanic shop and you can do discounted or free oil changes for single foster parents in your area. Do you own a furniture store? Maybe can you donate a bunk bed to the local foster parent association so a foster family can keep siblings together? Do you own a clothing store where maybe you can donate gift cards to DSS where the teens that are awaiting placement can come and get a new outfit, or simply clean socks and underwear? Do you have a garage with extra space where you can store luggage so that foster parents can come get luggage when they need it, so a child can transition from their home with dignity rather than putting all their things in a garbage bag? And that actually happens more than you think. If physical or tangible help is more than you can offer right now, maybe you have some time, 30 seconds even, where you can commit to checking on a foster family weekly via text message. Just sending a note of encouragement or a phone call before court, or just letting them know that you're thinking about them and that you appreciate what they're doing. There's so much that you can do. The list is endless. This certainly is not comprehensive, but hopefully this gives you just a really basic idea of some things that may be possible for you. When we talk about donating, this is typically where we lose people, right? What do you mean you want my money? Well, donating is a great way to help foster parents, children in care, families working towards reunification, relatives caregiving for children, organizations, agencies, and DSS offices. Of course, they can use your financial support. They're working hard to care for the needs of children and families. Donating money and gift cards is great, but you may have other ways to donate as well. So as a foster parent, here are a few things that I can always use. First, clean, brand new socks, underwear, and pajamas. Those are the things that I typically need for every child that enters my home, whether it's going to be short-term or long-term. And having those available when they show up, even if it's in the middle of the night, is crucial. So maybe that looks like a friend doing a Walmart run. That is an unbelievable help, because that allows me to be at my home, waiting for a child, preparing their room. I also use a local foster share closet through my local foster parent association. This is basically a free place for foster parents to shop for items needed for children in their care. So most clothes are gently used, but especially around the holidays, we have donations come in of new clothing items. And being able to go and pick up the things that I need, like toiletries. Toiletries are huge. toothbrushes, toothpaste, hairbrushes, a variety of hair care products, shampoo, body wash, lotion that I can send with these kids as they possibly go to the next placement. Toiletry kits can be huge to even have on hand at DSS offices for the kids and youth that are waiting in the office for placement. The same goes for gift cards. Gift cards for grocery stores or fast food or pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens, or stores like Walmart and Target, depending on what's in your area, can be really valuable. Valuable for DSS, nonprofit agencies, foster families, local foster parent associations, because this can help people care well for a child, right? Picking up clothes, toys, snacks, whatever it is to meet the unique needs of that child. DSS can often use gift cards to feed children who come into care late at night or are waiting in the office for placement. They can use healthy snacks for children and families that are having visits in the office. You can simply reach out and ask, what is needed? Talk to those agencies and organizations in your area to find out, what do they need ongoing? And maybe do they have some sort of notification system to tell you when new needs pop up? One of the very best things that you can do is commit to learning more about the foster care system, the needs in your area, and how you can make an impact on children and families. Lean in. Lean in to diverse voices and perspectives and stories. Read things that come from youth and alumni who have experienced foster care, from foster parents, from child welfare professionals. And then share what you learn. Maybe that is just sharing something on social media or having a conversation with your spouse or your friend. Maybe it's inviting the Foster Parent Association or DSS or other agencies to come and talk to the groups that you're a part of. Churches and Bible studies, book clubs, work teams, mom groups, parent organizations at school. Invite others to learn more with you and be aware of the needs in your area. The more you know, the more you can make thoughtful decisions about your role. Inviting others in and encouraging them to see the need can plant seeds in their life as well. We've talked about the need for more foster parents, and there's a need nearly everywhere in the country, especially for families that are willing to care for older children, teens, and sibling groups. But you might not know that there's different types of foster care. And of course, these vary based on your state, but it's helpful to know what the options are. For example, relatives care for children and youth who enter foster care through kinship care. You may not be able to foster strangers, but if you have a relative who comes into care, you could get licensed to care for just that child. Similarly, fictive kin care for children and youth that they already know, but they may not be biologically related. So this may include teachers, coaches, mentors, pastors, neighbors, friends. So these people can play an incredible role in caring for people they know, whether that's a current student or a past, a kid who played on the T-ball team that you coached, as fictive kinship caregivers or foster parents, because these people who already know children are able to keep them in their current environment, in their community of origin, to maintain connections. They may not have to change schools. They may not have to move further away because there aren't enough foster homes. So kinship and fictive kinship caregivers are incredible resources to children and youth in care. Respite care simply means short-term care. This allows foster parents a short break from the children who are currently placed in their home. So maybe the foster parent has a family emergency or a trip that they cannot bring a child or youth with them. A respite provider cares for the child during that agreed upon amount of time. In some states, through reasonable and prudent parenting law, as in South Carolina, babysitters or short-term respite providers don't need to be fully licensed foster parents. It may require a background check or documentation based on the state or the foster parents licensing agency. And of course, fostering. Maybe this is for you someday, maybe not right now, but foster parents for older children and youth are desperately needed. But that's a whole nother webinar, which I hope you'll join us on. So what are your next steps? I've given you a lot of information today, and we are wrapping up. You may be thinking, this is too much. I can't do all of that. Well, of course not. You can't do anything, but you can't do everything, but you may be able to do something. We need people who say, I am no longer accepting that I do nothing. Let me find my something. No matter how small that may seem, there is plenty room at the table for all of us. Whatever time, talent, or resources you have, there are way too many empty seats. We need you. You can't foster or adopt? Okay. Can you dedicate your time to advocating for children in foster care? Maybe as a guardian ad litem or a CASA. That's still a big commitment. Can you be a mentor or a tutor a few hours a month? Of course, there's commitment in those roles as well. Can you use your voice, your vote, your role in the community to speak up for children and families? Maybe you can use your time or your resources to support foster parents, to support the families working towards reunification, families caring for relatives. Maybe you can partner with organizations that are already doing great and hard work. So my advice is really simple. Start by taking time to consider if you want to do something, anything. If the answer is yes, great. Do a little more research. Find out where you can make an impact that makes sense for you and your schedule right now. Read, listen, learn, lean in. Find out what exists where you are and connect, and then engage. You'll discover the right next step in no time, because believe me, there is no shortage of roles to fill. Not everyone can foster, but everyone can do something. You're not alone. Support is out there. There are other people trying to solve these seemingly unsolvable crises. I believe if you want to do something, there is certainly something that you can do. We need everyone who's willing to help. Don't these kids and families deserve it? If you want to connect with us, please do. You can email us at connect@fgi4kids.org to learn more about our programs and ways that you can get involved. Thanks for joining us.